Hi, my name's Trent, and I will be graduating in the spring of 2021. So I just got one semester left of school, and I'm looking for a full-time position in entry-level construction management.
Excellent. So my first question for us this morning is, as far as what you're looking for in a good job, what are the top three things that you're looking for your future work home?
I'd say the three top things would be the benefit package, insurance, vacation time, uh, retirement, stuff like that. Probably the next thing would be work to home life ratio. And by that, I mean, I don't have an issue going out of town to work, but I'd like to have a healthy balance. I'm married with 3 kids. So the more time I'm able to be at home, the better, especially with the 3 kids. And one of them's a junior in high school. So he's got a lot of stuff going on that he wants me to be around for right now. And then probably the third thing would be the reputation of the company. I want to work for a good company that does things professionally, ethically. I don't want to be working with somebody that, doesn't take pride in what they do, kind of work on the darker side of construction. I don't like that. And I want to be working for a company that's looked at by the state or wherever they're working at as a professional, well-rounded company. Those would
Okay.
probably be the top three things.
If 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 there was two companies that offered, similar of those top three things that you just listed, what would lead you to choose one over the other?
Honestly, it would probably come down to the traveling. And that the benefit package is right there with it though, too. If a company said, hey, you're going to be out of town for, up to a week per month, and that's fine. And if the other company said, hey, you're probably going to be out of town 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I would definitely probably lean to the company where I'd be home more. And, if they were close on that aspect, it'd come down to the benefit package on what they offered.
Okay. As far as, after you graduate, the following year after that, what would success look like for you in the following year?
Definitely doing what I went to school for. Being in that construction management role, even if it's an entry level, I take pride in what I've done through school. It's been 4 years, and I would, a year from now, I'd love to be working for a nice company, doing construction management. Not saying that running big projects at that point in time. If I'm ready for it and I can prove I can do it, great. If not, still being in that entry level position, but definitely progressing more into the construction management role.
Okay. As far as qualities in a supervisor that you're looking for and things that are less motivating for you, what are the things that you like to see and what don't you like to see in a supervisor?
So in a supervisor, I think one of the top things that I'd like to see is communication. Communicate, let us know what's going on. Let us know where we're at. If we all could read minds, it'd be easy, but we can't read minds. So the more communication, the better I feel, especially coming from somebody that's in charge of me, my boss, my supervisor. Communication is key. And that goes to if you're not a good communicator, that goes to the bad side. Also, being not praising what the employee is doing, but acknowledging. And, every once in a while saying, hey, good job, hey, you knocked that out of the park, or You did a good job on this project or this portion of it, good job. And I'm not saying that you need that every day, but just being recognized every once in a while for doing good things. But that also goes, if you do something bad, that needs to be brought to your attention also. So, and that it all resorts right back to communication. I mean, that's a big key thing to me. I've worked for supervisors that have been poor communicators, and it just makes the job miserable. And I've worked for supervisors that communicate great, and it makes the job so much better.
Yes. You know, you've got some great work experience. Can you tell us your experience working in a fast-paced environment and under pressure?
So I can go with two things there. One, when I worked at a coal mine, I was a foreman, and I had anywhere from 5 guys on my crew up to 25 guys on my crew. And we worked at the WDA, which is the waste disposal area at the coal mine, which that's where all the mud and rock would come to. And having to keep up with the belt, I mean, that belt runs 24/7. And there's times that piles up to the belt. I mean, and the crew's stressed, they're freaking out. So working under pressure, as a foreman, I had to keep the crew together, keep them motivated, and not show them that I was stressed. Because to me, if your leader is stressed, then having, your crew seeing that the leader's stressed, that makes it worse for the crew. So dealing with that. And then also when I was in the military, military was very fast paced, especially when we were deployed to Iraq. I mean, that was 24/7 go. And you didn't know, when you're going to sleep, you didn't know anything. So, I mean, very stressful, not knowing what to expect minute to minute, let alone day to day. So I would say the military was the most stressful, fast paced work experience I do have.
As far as in your life, if you can think of a time where you've faced adversity and then how you overcame that, can you give us an example?
Well, I might as well just go with what recently happened, and that's COVID. I got hit with it, got a severe case, spent 5 days in the hospital. And of course, it happened right over Thanksgiving and leading into finals for this fall semester for school. I was way behind on classes, lectures. And when I got released from the hospital, it was just sitting down and making the commitment to get it done, no matter how long it took. Because I mean, my brain was working so slow that what normally took me an hour, I was taking 4 or 5 hours to do. And communicating with my professors, I think that was key, letting them know where I was at. And every one of them was very understanding. And the only way that's possible is by me communicating what was going on. I could have kept my mouth shut and not said anything and struggled. But here it is. I got one final left to go out of 6. I think that was the most recent one. So
Yeah, no, that's great. From your experience, what traits and values contribute to someone being a great team player?
motivation, and that goes for every person on the team. Everybody's got to be motivated. Everybody's got to have the same goals for the project and for the end of the project. Also being a good communicator, once again, because as a team, I see a team as people that work together. And if you're working on something on part of the project and you don't understand it, or you're just not getting it, communicate that with the team and let them know, because that's what the team's there for, is for everybody to work together. So communication, motivation, having, a good work ethic, being, not being that one team player that sits by and lets everybody else do the work, and just working together, communicating. Those are the main traits and attributes that I see as a a team player.
Nice. Can you tell us, your experience with safety regulations and wearing PPE and safety equipment?
So working at the coal mine, we fell under MSHA, and the safety stuff there was ridiculous in a good way. I'm not saying it was bad. Hard hat, safety glasses, reflective clothing was mandatory no matter what. It didn't matter if you're just walking out of the office, you had to have that stuff on. So wearing that stuff was just second nature. I mean, you almost felt naked if you didn't have your hard hat on. And dealing with MSHA and inspections, being a foreman, I dealt with the inspectors quarterly. They'd come out and inspect our site, and I'd have to ride around with them. And they'd point out what they didn't like, and what the codes were and everything. And usually they gave us like 24 hours to fix the issue, and we wouldn't get the citation. And very rarely did we even get to that point where there was anything that was going to be cited. We had a very clean site, and, we took pride in that. And we just, with safety, I know OSHA and MSHA are both different, but they're both very similar. So with all the experience that I have with MSHA, the stuff with OSHA is the same, they're just, a lot of it's common sense too. And I feel the experience that I do have is quite a ways up there, working on a safe, controlled site, and making sure everybody's got the right proper gear on for the situation, because your fall protection, your cutting, and all that stuff. You need different PPE for each situation, and knowing what the right ones are is key.
Yeah. If you were asked to do a task that you didn't feel comfortable doing, how would you handle that?
So comfortable or uncomfortable doing it based on I don't know how to do it, or like a safety situation?
Yeah, let's go with that you don't know how to complete the task.
So I would definitely try to complete it, or at least try to figure it out. But if I didn't feel I understood it 100%, I would go to my supervisor and explain to him or her where I was at on it. Hey, this is where I'm at on this. I'm uncertain where to go from here. Can you, what would you do? Or can you help me with this? Can you explain it? There's a lot of people that don't like to ask questions because they're afraid that, it's going to show the lack of knowledge they have. But I feel that how else are you going to gain that knowledge? If you don't know it, how else are you going to gain that knowledge without asking? And I hate to struggle at stuff. So if asking a question or getting help from somebody is what it comes down to, I have no issue doing it. I mean, working for a company, I don't want us to lose a bid because it's something I didn't know how to do, but I just winged it. I'll find somebody that knows how to do it and get help from them.
So, I see some great experience on your resume. As far as what you want to do in your future, are you thinking commercial construction, civil, industrial, bridge work? Like where do you want to go?
I've been in the civil part pretty much my entire life. So when it comes to structural and stuff like that, I don't have the experience. I'm lacking in an area, and I'll be the first to admit that. But I also want to gain the experience in that. But once again, it all goes back to what I know. I understand civil, and that's where I'm leaning, is to stay with the civil part of it, just because that's what I know and that's what I'm most comfortable with. But if I was to get a job offer for something that was structural related, and they want to teach me, I have no issue with that. I mean, I'll jump on board and I'll learn everything I possibly can. So it's I'm not torn. I want to stay with the civil, but I wouldn't turn down learning more about the construction part of it itself as far as the structural part goes.
Okay. Um, can you tell me about your internship and what you were doing for H5?
So when I was working with them, I spent some time in the office just going over plans, doing some small quantity takeoffs, just providing those numbers to their construction manager. And then I spent a lot of time out in the field working with the superintendent on their Whispering Winds project in Palmer. Uh, Basically job shadowing him, I guess you can say, and doing daily reports. They use Procore. So I was doing a lot of stuff on there for them, and just basically that was where I spent most of my time, was out in the field. And it was, it was great hands-on experience. And, it was all structural. Their building, it was a big retirement. And I think it was a 45-room retirement or early retirement home. So being on that was actually the first time I was on a true structural job. So I got to see a lot of the ins and outs. And of course, this was right in the middle of the prime of the COVID stuff. So I got to see a lot of the issues that they were dealing with and the problems with deliveries being delayed. The project actually got pushed 8 weeks behind the finish date. And that was just, the flooring was 8 weeks out from China. And that was all due to COVID. So I got to see how delaying the project and working around that and trying to bring the project back on time and get it back on track, which we weren't successful, of course, but we did limit the damages. We did get it to where with the owner, we finished in the time frame that he really, the end of his time frame, and we were able to get tenants moved in. But the hardest part was they wanted to move tenants in while we were still working into one of the wings. So we had to, that was interesting working on that part of it, trying to, keep everything separate.
Yeah, I'm sure. I see that you're part of the ASC competition as well.
Yes.
Did you participate last year or just this year?
This will be my first year. Last year I wanted to, but my class schedule just didn't allow for it. I think I was taking 6 classes, and just timing and trying to go to the meetings and practices and stuff, just I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I had class, so.
And so this year, have you guys started practicing already or not yet?
Yes, they did start practicing 2 weeks ago. And of course, that's right when I was in the middle of the COVID stuff for myself.
Right.
So I haven't truly been to a practice, but they have started. And next week is when I'll finally be able to be back with the team again. And everything's
Awesome.
being done through Zoom right now anyway. So
yeah, it'll be a modified environment this year for sure for you guys.
Yep.
Okay, so for anybody watching this video, is there anything in closing that you'd like to say about yourself?
My work ethic is very professional. I take pride in what I do. You ask me to do something, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And what I do is just, I work, and I don't slack off. I work as hard as I can. I take pride in what I do. I guess teachable. I'm very teachable. I'm willing to learn. And right now, construction management, going into that field, entry level, I think that's one of the key things is be teachable. And that's where I'm at. I've done 4 years worth of school basically, and I've maintained almost a 3.8 GPA. I should be up to 3.8 after this semester. I work hard, and I take pride in what I do.